Hey everybody, today we're talking about Batman the Knight. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent and today we are reviewing Batman the Knight by Chip Zdarsky and Carmine Di Giandomenico. This is a phenomenal book. This is a 10-issue limited series. So I don't know if it's a miniseries or maxi series at that point. Comic books, 6 or less is a miniseries. Usually 12 is a maxi series. So between 6 and 12, I'm not sure. Anyway, this came out a couple years ago, and it is awesome, honestly. This is a tale about Bruce Wayne. There is no Batman in here, although it is called Batman the Knight, I think just to get copies sold. Bruce does not suit up or anything like that. This is more of like the parts about Batman Year One that you were like, that Batman Begins filled in. This is that same Batman Begins tale of from the moment after Bruce's parents got shot and murdered to the moment he decides to become Batman. Like, this doesn't lead up to the moment in Batman Year One where the bat comes through the window, but pretty much. Like, you could see that happening, maybe 2 or 3 pages after the end of this book. So I put my Batman stuff like chronologically in terms of how it takes place in his timeline. So like I would put this right before Batman Year One, even though there are some things that kind of overlap with the Frank Miller tale there. But overall, this is a really, really cool modern exploration of how Bruce Wayne trained to become the Batman. Basically, of these 10 issues, the first 8 are almost standalone stories where Bruce encounters a new master every issue. He's encountering a master of fighting in the first one, a master of leaping across rooftops in Paris in the second one, and they encounter a serial killer. He encounters a master of the mind, he encounters a master of martial arts, and along the way, he meets this kid, Anton, who you might figure out, based on when the timing was, it was like, is this kid Ghostmaker? Yes, this kid is Ghostmaker from the James Tynion run. So there was he was a new character introduced in that Batman run by James Tynion IV, who had trained with Bruce when he was a young boy. They had met. There's a little bit of their past explored, and this is kind of their story. Because once they link up, they kind of don't look back until the very end of the book, and they break up for, they're not in a relationship other than a friendship, but, their separation has its reasons, and I feel like they're pretty good. The last 2 issues are dealing with the introduction of Ra's al Ghul and his organization and how he's grooming one of these 2 boys to become his successor or right hand, and Bruce succeeds. So the last issues really leads you down a path of like, wait a minute, where's this book going? And then it does write itself in terms of how you think Bruce's story is going to go. There's an amazing issue here with Zatanna. John Zatara, that's Zatanna's dad, and Bruce discovering that magic is real, that demons are real and stuff like that. Really, really awesome book. The whole thing is drawn by Carmine Di Giandomenico, whom I think I was first introduced on, was it a Spider-Man title? I think maybe with Dan Slott. But I really got to admire his art when he was doing Josh Williamson's Flash run. I think he did the first couple of arcs on the Rebirth era there, and then came in towards the end, and Howard Porter came back, and then you also had Christian Duce doing art on there. But yeah, he's one of the standout artists, and his stuff here is just, it's phenomenal. I really, really enjoy his art. It's realistic, it's detailed, but yet it's modern kind of, comic book art. It's not quite as anime styled as Jorge Jimenez or Dan Mora, like those guys, but it's definitely got a little tinge to it, but it's it feels more European than anything, I think I would say. More like maybe Mobius in terms of the way his line work is and stuff like that. So I think that is really cool. I mean, you got beautiful covers here, like this cover right here, just kind of gives you a sense of his style. I think most people would enjoy this art style. There's nothing here, I think, that is would turn people off from it, the way like maybe some people don't like John Romita Jr. or somebody that's really sketchy or things like that. This is truly a comic book style that tells the story, accomplishes everything you want to do, and brings people in, and I think they can admire the artistry behind it here. So really, really cool story. I really enjoyed this book. This gets my biggest recommendation as a modern Batman story that you should pick up, even if there is no Batman in it. There's no costume, there's no ears, there's no grappling gun, or there kind of is, but it's purely about Bruce Wayne learning all the tools he needs to become Batman. And then, the next part after this book ends is him actually putting on the suit, deciding he's going to be Batman and things like that. He's almost coming to that realization towards the end of the book, and the book is called The Knight because you figure out that Bruce is building a suit of armor. He even uses that analogy at some point, that he can't have a chink in his armor and things like that. So that's why it's called Batman the Knight. And then there's an issue towards the end where somebody points out, like, you want to be a dark knight because you want to operate in the shadows, in between the lines, of society and things like that. So I think it's awesome. Check it out if you haven't already. Let me know what you think down below in the comments if you read it, and I'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.